everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday Creative Livestream. As you can see, I finished my pngtuber avatar thing that I've worked on a little bit over the course of a few of the previous live streams, and now I'm on screen. This is me. I'm a fox. I'm not just talking into a well-calibrated microphone to animate the voice. This is actually a live feed of me. Okay, joking aside, obviously, I literally just said it's a pngtuber avatar, but it's a pretty fun little thing I decided to add to my live streams, liven them up a little bit. So, let's see how well it works throughout the course of this stream. I've calibrated it well enough to where hopefully it only picks up my voice and not my squeaky chair most of the time. But we'll see if Blue's mouth randomly opens at any point when I'm not speaking. Shouldn't happen, but if it happens, it happens. Whatever. But anyway, let's get started. So, today I've decided I'm going to work a little more on this artwork that I've worked on for a little bit. I said in a previous live stream I wasn't going to work on this, but then in a different live stream I decided to go ahead and anyway, I also noticed Swift Blue Fox has just joined the chat. Hello, glad you're here. Welcome to the stream again. Always happy to see you around. Hold on, I lost my train of thought because I was checking a notification. But yeah, glad you're here. Happy to have you here. And we'll just go ahead and start working on this artwork. So, anyway, the first thing that I want to take care of in this artwork is completely erasing Blue, because I don't feel like this pose that I came up with for him is really working out. It doesn't feel natural somehow. Maybe it's just because I have really tight hamstrings in real life, and this would be immensely painful for me to be in this pose in real life. But it's also just like I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a natural pose. So that's one reason I'm going to completely redo his lines. But another reason is I realized the way I drew his head is wrong somehow. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but there's a way I've been tending to draw him, not just in this artwork, but in a few recent artworks where he looks like a Celestial Seasonings tea character. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but maybe it's the proportion of his forehead being a little too big, or the fluff on the sides not being big enough, or whatever, but he looks older and more British. Even though Celestial Seasonings is a Colorado company, the artwork is kind of British feeling. So, that doesn't make any sense. I'm just kind of saying whatever comes to my mind, but whatever. In any case, I'm going to be deleting his line art altogether here, just like this, and I'm going to be completely reimagining what pose he was going to be in, because I have a better pose in mind now. Basically the same pose as making a snow angel, even though he's in a grassy field and there's no snow to see anywhere. So I'm just gonna do what my art tutor taught me to get kind of a good circle here. Just erase some of the straggly lines after doing a rough sketch, and then just kind of get the super basics out of the way. This is where his shoulders would be. I don't know if his arms would bend downward or just be straight, whatever. That's where his elbow would be. And that's where, I think that makes sense with foreshortening, that his arm would be this long. That looks all right. And then And then his snoot would come out here, his muzzle, and the proportions are all wrong for his muzzle right now, but this is just a super duper rough sketch, so I'm sure that'll improve shortly since I'm gonna literally improve it here. Kind of more like this. Still looks a little thin to me, maybe. Yeah, there we go. And then just a little bit of that, a little bit of that. There we go. We have the super basics of his pose, although his knee is probably bending the wrong way here. So I'm just gonna erase his leg and see if I can figure out any of what I'm doing here. Because the thing is, to exaggerate the wrong bend, I'll just draw it like this for a second, and this is what I'm seeing is wrong. It just feels like his knee would not bend that way. But having a perfectly straight leg somehow feels wrong to me. And it's funny because, like, if I go ahead and rotate the canvas here, he's literally T-posing, which is funny. Like, I can see this naturally without having to rotate the canvas, but like the reason it's funny is because a snow angel pose literally is a T-pose, but it's just sideways. And yeah, the chat message just came in late, but yes, instead of a snow angel, it's a grass angel. But yeah, anyway, let's see. Now that I have the super duper rough sketch in place, I'll just rename the layer Blue Rough Sketch, and then I'll just make a new layer and name it Blues Lines, and then I'll turn the opacity all the way down, almost all the way down on the rough sketch so that I can start doing the line art. I think I'm gonna struggle with this, honestly, but especially given the angle, but I mean, if I turn it sideways, I think I'll be okay. So let's see. I'll just start with the circle of the head, as I usually do. Erase some of the junk. And then kind of do these crosshairs. Even though I never actually use the crosshairs, they do kind of somewhat help me mentally picture what direction he's looking, at least, and get the perspective somewhat right. Sometimes I also do additional crosshairs to kind of split the head into thirds. But usually I do that mentally instead of actually drawing them out, because if I draw them out, it doesn't work out very well, usually. So I kind of just do this. And then his muzzle comes out like this. And actually, for his nose, I actually like to draw the circle kind of higher up, kind of angling upwards off of the tip of his nose, for the top of his actual nose, because that gives it a nice 3D effect. And then I kind of try to keep track of the 3D of everything, and yeah, that's how I draw his muzzle. Although I think I drew it too thin somehow here, so need to undo everything and thicken it up just a little bit. I'm drawing in really thick lines here. I'm not sure if I should be. I don't know if my brush preset has been reset. I should probably make it a little bit smaller of a brush actually, and undo some of these lines, redo them just a little bit thinner. But since this is going to be a full painting, the line weight doesn't actually matter that terribly much, but it does matter just for my mental visualization's sake for things. But anyway, a kind of quirk of how I draw my characters' noses, at least recently, is they're more of like an upside down cone shape than anything else. And like, I'm not sure if that's how professional anthro artists or whatever would actually do it, but it's how I do it because I guess that's just part of my art style at this point. But yeah, I think his muzzle is the right shape now. I just need to do this and then erase some of the bottom of his head here. Start giving him a more fox shape. Because he's fox-shaped. A fox-shaped fox. Or hedgehog-shaped, depending on how well I do the fur on the sides of his face. Because sometimes a mistake I make with how I do the fur is I don't vary it enough. Like, I don't make the strands different enough from each other. And it kind of ends up looking like the back of Sonic the Hedgehog's head. Especially like the older illustrations of him from the 80s or whatever. And it doesn't look that great on blue. It doesn't look that great in my art style in general to have like hedgehog quills instead of fur. So even if I did draw Sonic the Hedgehog in my art style, he wouldn't look that way because it's my style. It's not Sega's style. So I've been kind of thinking a lot about my art style lately and trying to figure out what actually defines it so that hopefully I can kind of zero in on that more and like make my style really unique and really interesting. And yeah, one of the things that kind of defines it is like, I'm not sure how to put it into words, but my art style kind of, it has this slightly cartoony innocence to it, but also, I don't know. I don't know what I'm even saying. I just know that my art style has a very specific look to it that I really like, and it definitely is a style, cause the other day my friend Shadow Fox started using an avatar that I made for him. I call it an avatar, and every time I do that I date myself, but he started using his artwork I made for him as his profile pic, and like another friend, Pie Runner, literally as soon as he noticed the icon change, he's like, wait, did Blue make that? So I definitely have a distinct art style because people are starting to recognize it right away when they see it. And so that conversation is actually what kind of prompted me to start actually thinking about my art style and thinking, what makes my art style what it is, and how can I have more control over that? Because I would like to have more intentional definition in the way I draw things, and what defines my art style. Although I've heard it said many a times, many a place that that your art style is literally just a culmination of all the mistakes you can't help but make, basically. And so, be that as it may, I would like to define my art style a little more intentionally, and another thing with my art style that's always kind of annoyed me is that it keeps changing without my consent. And so my characters from one picture to another kind of look different, and that's a little annoying to me because I don't want them to. I want them to look the same every time I draw them, but anyway, one mistake I've been successfully avoiding a lot in most of my newer artwork is that I always used to draw the near ear facing the viewer and the far ear facing away from the viewer, and actually, Swift Blue Fox, you were the one that pointed out that I tend to do that, and that my characters would look more three-dimensional if I had both ears facing forward. And I've been doing that ever since. But the reason I bring it up now is that since he's in this picture literally like laying flat on the grass and in a kind of relaxed state, I am kind of thinking his far ear will face away in this one. And I think it'll look okay, despite everything. So I need to also relax his eyes a little bit. They're open a little too wide at the moment, so. There's a fine, expression-wise though, there's a fine line between relaxed and devious, and I don't want this emotion to be deviousness. But I don't know if it'll come across that way horizontally or not, because even though I'm drawing this vertically, just to make sure everything looks right, the image is horizontal, so I don't know how much that actually affects people's perception of the emotion, per se, but I'm just kind of speaking my artistic thoughts out loud. And also my autistic thoughts out loud, because that is an unfortunate thing about having autism, is I struggle with facial expression stuff. Just in general, not just in my art, but in real life. Sometimes it's hard for me to really pick up on what someone is feeling just by looking at them. And that affects my art because I don't know how to make my characters emote in a way that to a neurotypical person, like, they would look at it and say, yeah, he's feeling this, that, or the other thing. Because, I don't know how to translate that. That's just not part of how my brain is wired. But thankfully I have a cup of chai latte in front of me. Just took a sip of it. So I'll at least have energy to figure out what I'm doing here. This eye is a little bit lopsided from the other one. Let me fix that. And now they look square. Looks like Blue's been watching a little bit too much TV. So, that's kind of a joke off of the old saying, if you watch too much TV, your eyes will turn square. Only remembered about that phrase because I saw it used in a Minecraft fan film as a joke like a really cleverly written joke, because the premise of the Minecraft fan film I saw was that in the early 2000s when Minecraft came out, there was a guy that was still living with his mom, and he was just watching TV and playing games too much, and in the first scene, his mom comes in and is like nagging him about something or other, and then as she leaves, she says, "You need to go outside. If you stay on that thing too long, your eyes will turn square," or something like that. And it was funny because it's a real saying that people used to say, but in the context of a Minecraft fan film where the guy actually ends up going to the Minecraft world, it's just funny because, square, Minecraft. It was cleverly written. The VFX and honestly some of the plot weren't that special in that fan film, but that one line was actually pretty good. So, I'll just put in the ear floof now for this ear, and also do this. Just make it go back a little bit here. I don't know if this is the blue that I am trying to draw, though, is the thing. Because there's a specific picture of blue that I use a lot. I actually use it as this channel's icon and also my main channel's icon. But that picture is actually exactly what I want blue to always look like. And even this pngtuber doesn't look like that correctly. But I mean, it looks like blue at least. Might redo it eventually, but anyway, I don't know if I'm drawing blue the way I want him to actually look. I feel like his nose is a little too long here, so I'm gonna just go ahead and erase a big amount of his muzzle, make his nose maybe a little bit shorter, and kind of redo some things here. The nostril should be up here. The other nostril probably isn't visible from this perspective. This smile's throwing me off a bit. Yep, and then there we go. Starting to look a little better, I think, than the one I had before. Let's see. Does that look good? Yes. Gosh, that looks really good, actually. So, I'll just keep going with this iteration. I'll just draw his iconic face stripe here. The markings on the sides of his muzzle here. I think that looks okay. Kinda need to do this, I think. Just a little bit of a black mark there. Black mark there. I am thinking of redesigning Blue as a character in general sometime soon, keeping the parts of his design currently that I really like, but overhauling a lot of things too. Haven't come up with much in that regard as to what changes I want to make, but one of them is I kind of want him to wear something around his shirt and not just the shirt by itself, like some kind of strap that goes from his left shoulder down to his right hip. I don't know what would be strapped to him, though. Would it be a camera? Would it be a microphone? Maybe. Would it be some kind of satchel with a journal and stuff in it? I don't know. But But I definitely want him to wear some kind of strap that goes from shoulder to hip, and so that's one design change I want to make to him. Another, I'll just hide the rough sketch now for now. Another change I want to make is just making him more adventurous in general somehow. But I'm not really sure. I'm also doing his hair completely wrong here. That's Fennecai's hair, not Blue's hair. Blue's hair kind of comes down a little more, like this. Little messier, little less spiky. Honestly, this whole picture, this whole redo, if I'm actually fully honest, is not working out very well. Need to stretch his hair out a little bit here. And then trace over it again, because now the pixels for the brush are all messed up, so... But, yeah, this doesn't feel like it's working out, but I mean, I'm not gonna beat myself up over it, because I'm doing my best here. So, alright. Pixels no longer look like crap here. Well, they actually do, but whatever. It's just the line art that won't be in the final picture anyway, because it's going to be a full painting. The line art's mostly just a guide for me when I am painting it. But the hair is actually something that'll completely not matter at all in the line art. So, because when I go in to brush it and stuff, I'll probably do it completely differently anyway. The hair is always something I really, really struggle with when I'm painting. Like, it never looks good, never comes out good, but hopefully if I do it enough times, it will start to kind of look good. So that's the best I can hope for currently. Just take things one step at a time. Okay. Gotta erase that, erase his... I don't know if those were his eyebrows or his eyelids. I kind of lost track, and that's why I need to erase them anyway, but... Okay, those are erased. I can merge the layers now. And then give him his eyebrows back, because he definitely needs them. There, like, his big eyebrows are actually a defining feature of his design. I swear, he doesn't look right, though. It's the sides of his face. They look too fat. I need to thin them up a little bit somehow. They look just like they went out too wide. So, gotta erase them, try them again. Because I know it's somewhere here, roughly. So. It's just the fur details are what are getting in my way as far as trying to figure out the shape. But that's a visual tangent with his hair right now. So I'll just erase more of his hair. And then hopefully I can kind of break up that visual tangent a little bit here. Let's see. Decent. Not good, but decent. I'll just erase his ear altogether since it's now in the wrong place. And then little visual tangent here. I think I know what's wrong with his hair. I wasn't thinking about the actual strands. I was just thinking too much about let's not make it look like Sonic the Hedgehog, basically. So the real thing I need to focus on with his hair, even though most of his head doesn't even exist anymore at this point, since I've redone it so much, I'll just erase his ear and redo that too, is that his hair needs to flow out from basically the same point. So let me try doing it like this, just drawing these little guidelines and then drawing the hair itself around those, because that's a trick I've used a few times now and it actually works really well most of the time. So just kind of a hedgehog fox like you foreshadow earlier in the stream. Yeah. Yep. Or Tails the fox, since he's in the same art style and he is a fox. You're too good at storytelling, I'm telling you. Thanks. Wasn't intentional this time, but... Yeah, I like to think of myself as being decent at storytelling. I'm a good storyteller, but not a good... Well, let me rephrase. I'm good at coming up with ideas for stories. I'm not as good at telling said stories, usually. I'm just... it's the minutia of how to tell stories that I'm not as good at, as far as I'm aware. But, I can come out with a really good outline for, a really good story, but telling the story, beat to beat, chapter to chapter, all that stuff, all the minutia, is what gets to me. I don't know how to use grammar and diction and blah 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 blah. I don't know how to do any of that stuff super well. Gosh dang it, his hair is still wrong, even though I did the trick that usually works. Guess I'll worry about his hair later. I'll put his ears in place, since those usually are part of the guideline for where I put his hair. He's not Fennecai, so his ears need to be a little bit smaller than Fennecai. Kind of that size, roughly. I kind of think proportionally his ears are about the same... Well, about three quarters the size of his head. because I kind of want Blue's ears in my art style to, like, they still need to be big because big ears are adorable, but not so big that he looks like a fennec fox, because Fennecai is a fennec fox, but Blue is not. So I don't want the characters to be further confused with each other than they already are a lot of the time. So need to at least make the ears different sizes on them. But yeah, that's another reason I want to redesign both Blue and Fennecai at some point, because they're just too similar right now. Which makes sense, because Fennecai was originally a design iteration of Blue, and then I kind of decided I wanted him to be a separate character at some point, and but he never, like, his design never really became too much different than Blue's, and I want to change that at some point. Let's see here. His head shape is still wrong somehow, and I'm really struggling to figure it out today. It looks too, like, I don't know, it just looks too long, like too wide. Like, it feels like I stretched it out too much like this. Maybe if I just digitally shrink it like this, I'll be okay. It's a cheat, but at least I know kind of what's wrong, so if I really wanted to, I could just redraw it properly, but I don't know how much of a benefit that would give me. So Fen will be more different than Blue. Yes, Fen and Blue are very much supposed to be, like, very different from each other. And Fennecai and Blue kind of represent two different halves of my own personality. Fennecai is the more cautious, more, I don't know, more timid sometimes. Like, he literally lives in a dystopian world, so he is kind of more the guy that's always in a flight or fight state. And Blue, on the contrary, is actually much happier as a character. So he's always just a lot more relaxed and a lot less tense and stuff. And so I want their character designs to also reflect their personalities a little more. And I'm not really sure the best approach for that, but part of it is, like I was saying earlier, I want Blue to kind of wear something like a satchel with a journal in it, or a camera, or something. Like, he's on an adventure, but it's like a leisurely, more relaxed adventure, and whereas Fennecai already actually has something like that. It's the quiver for his bow and arrow that he uses. So, ironically, I kind of want them both to have that same thing, but, like, Blue carries tools of creativity, like a camera or a journal or whatever, and Fennecai carries tools for fighting. because his whole thing is he's not just physically but like emotionally fighting for his survival and stuff. So I don't know what's wrong with this head, why it keeps coming out so weird to me. I'm definitely a lot closer than I was, but the eyes look wrong now. So is Fen from Ocean Haven and Blue is somewhere else? Yes. Fen is the only character in Ocean Haven. Blue doesn't even have like a specific world or story that he's in. Blue is kind of more, I guess you could call him my art Sona or whatever they call it, where Blue is more the character that directly represents me and my creativity and stuff on the internet and such. Like, Blue is more my online persona and online brand identity and stuff, whereas Fennecai is actually more the role of like an original character in a story. And so Fennecai is the main protagonist of the Ocean Haven universe, essentially, but Blue is just kind of me. So I want their designs to be distinct from each other, because they also have completely different roles as characters. This eye is wrong. I'm just going to erase it and completely redo it because the perspective was wrong on it. Let's see. A little too small. Lopsided. Little too small. I think that looks better now. Yeah, that looks fine. Now, at least his eye does. He still needs hair. So, attempt number 3. Here we go. Gonna go ahead and just see if my muscle memory can help me this time. Cause I always draw his hair the same way anyway, so probably have some good muscle memory built up for that. Of course, I just obliterated his eyebrows with his hair because it was covering them. But also need to slightly change the shape of his ear to avoid the visual tangent. This strand is kind of in a tangent with the stripe on his face, unfortunately, so need to just erase that strand and try to make it a little less centered there, because it's like that. Maybe you can do this. Still kind of the same problem. Oh well. This eye is a little too big. There's a saying that my art tutor taught me that I need to take some heed of right now. Better right than right now. And basically what it means is don't rush. Because if you're rushing through it, you're not gonna get it right, basically. So take your time. And that's what I need to start doing, because a lot of these mistakes are just me rapidly course correcting a course correction of a course correction right now, because I'm going so fast, just because I'm live streaming, that I keep making mistakes. But if I slow down, maybe things will start to look a little better. His chin is just wrong somehow. Need to correct it. Smile is kind of getting in the way of that, so I need to move it up a little bit. I mean, sideways it looks fine. It's just doesn't look right side up. Yeah, it's a good thing that the intermission is happening fairly soon, because I'm getting a little burned out and frustrated with this specific artwork, so it's time I change over to a different project. I don't know which project though. I'll probably use the intermission time to actually decide that. Probably I'm gonna work on more of the artwork for Shadow Fox UK's Twitch TV page, but I also kind of want to work on more poses for my pngtuber avatar, because I kind of want to do no promises yet for those of you viewing this stream besides SwiftBoo Fox, but on my main channel I would like to potentially do some reactions to movies, and I would like to represent myself using a pngtuber avatar like this one. But of course, since he's going to be watching a movie and not doing artwork, I need to do different artwork where he's just eating popcorn or something instead of drawing on a tablet. So I might do that in the second half of this stream, and then work on Shadow Fox's art off stream, maybe later today or something. I already missed the deadline he set for me on that anyway, so yeah, I'm at the point where I would almost like to just take my intermission early, cause man, I don't feel like I have energy at the moment, despite drinking my chai latte in an effort to avoid that. But I mean, that'll mess up my whole streaming schedule if I take the intermission early, so I have to wait 10 more minutes. What can I do in those 10 minutes, I wonder? Huh. I don't know. It kind of stinks having ADHD sometimes, because one moment I have all the energy in the world to do this, but then as soon, like literally the moment that I start to lose interest for whatever reason whatsoever, be that getting frustrated or just getting bored or whatever, like literally the second that happens, I lose all my energy and I can't regain it without taking a break. And it stinks on these live streams because, like, sometimes it happens where I need a break, like right now, but I can't take it for like 10 more minutes because of the live stream schedule that I've set up for myself. And so I'm just left to procrastinate until it's time for the break because I don't have anything I can do for this artwork right now. I'm just so burned out at the moment that that everything I do is just going to be a mistake that I need to correct later. But I guess I can try to correct a few mistakes while I wait for the intermission time to show up. I think that might have been part of what was causing me to not do the face properly. I just shaded his eyes in, and it suddenly just looks better. Just psychologically, I guess the eyes being blank was causing an uncanny valley sort of effect, and causing me to draw things more uncannily. But now that his eyes are black, like the pupils are actually filled in, he looks fine. Even right side up, he looks fine now. So I think he does anyway. His head looks a little off center from his neck, but that's easy enough to just fix digitally. Just need to do a little transform lasso tool magic here. And then a little bit of erasing lines and then redrawing them at the connection points here. There we go. That looks perfect, as far as I can tell. I have like 7 minutes left until the intermission, so I'll just keep looking for little things that I can fix, little nitpicks that I can try to make changes to. Probably should have done this picture at a higher resolution. Although I think I did it at 4K. So, actually, what size did I pick for this? Yeah, 3840 by 2160. That is 4K. So I'm surprised that blue is so pixelated here, but I guess that's bound to happen when I zoom in so far. Well, 5 more minutes. Well, 6 more minutes, but it's going to be 5 minutes soon. Let's see. Switch that to rotate canvas mode, and then switch it back to brush size mode. guess I can kind of try to start working on his shoulders a little bit. And his arms to some small degree. Probably best to work on those with the image rotated correctly like this instead of upright, just so I get the perspective right. Because his arms kind of disappear into the background here with foreshortening, so in actual this rough sketch marks the elbow in the wrong place because it actually needs to be a lot smaller anyway because of the foreshortening. So his elbow would actually be there-ish. Brush size could stand to be a couple notches bigger here. I think that looks okay. At least his far arm does, but not this arm. This arm is not foreshortened enough. It's kind of intersecting with the ground in 3D space, so need to redo the rough sketch here. It should actually be more like this, but then that looks maybe slightly too short. Hold on. Maybe here. It's just kind of mentally picturing it, like where everything goes. I think this is better, somewhat. It's not perfect, but I think it's okay. I keep saying that, but honestly it doesn't look okay to me. I'm going to use Krita's Cheaty 3D rotation tool here. Let's see, control. Okay, control is what I press for that. This arm should be more like this. Cause see, now I can rotate it in 3D space. Then I just retrace the lines since it does such a perfect job at the 3D rotation that it rotates the individual pixels. And they look flat now. So redrawing his lines helps kind of make it 3D again. Just kind of trying to picture where his neck goes here in 3D space. Then change these out to be ellipses instead of spheres. Just for the sake of anatomy and stuff. And then there's my alarm going off for intermission. So now that I Like, even though I kind of regained some of my energy by working on the next part of this image, I think I'll just go ahead and go to intermission now. And I might actually continue working on this after the intermission, but we'll see. So, I'll be right back in about 12 minutes. Which button do I push? Oh, this one. Well, I'm back, kind of. Even though I have this open on my screen right now, I actually haven't decided whether I want to work on it or not. I actually don't know what to work on right now because that break didn't feel long enough, to be frank. So I really hate to be in the habit of ending streams early, so I'm gonna still try to make it work, but I actually am feeling somewhat burned out right now, so I'm in a bit of a weird, awkward position right now. Should I just work on this, or... I don't know. But I guess I'll try. So let me get my artist glove on, and I'll go ahead and start working on this some more, I guess, since my art lesson is this week anyway, so thanks for the encouragement, Swift. So, let's see, what brushes, what colors am I using here? I should use that. I should. Heh. Alright, so when I was looking at this picture the other day, I realized my leaves are way too dark, but I think it has something to do with the very subtle glare on my monitor, because during the day they look fine, but at night when I look at it, the leaves look too dark. So I think there's like a very subtle glare on my main monitor that's causing that to look different. But I did observe that my leaves are darker than the reference somewhat, even though it's really hard to tell directly just by looking at my monitor. So what I'm gonna do is actually lighten up the dark leaves just a tiny bit. So right now this is that color. I should probably make it just a tiny bit lighter, like that color, like that value. Maybe a tiny bit lighter than that even. Yeah, same goes for the leaf up here. This needs to be lighter as well. I just darkened it. How did that happen? Hold on. How is that darkening it? I sample this color, then I bring it up lighter, and then I use the paint bucket tool and it gets darker. Why is that happening? Oh, that's why. The heck? Okay, so need to lighten this up. I think that's more correct. Hard to really tell per se, but I think it's alright. And then let's fill this in a little bit more with this color. Oh, actually I should just use this brush and then turn off the opacity of it. Let's see. Yeah. There we go. So now that leaf is correct, and so is the other dark one. I think they're all correct now. At least out of the ones that I've done so far, they're correct. So, now I move on to the next random leaf. Let's see. Let's do this one, which is kind of the same as this one, so I'll just do that, merge down, new layer, clipping mask, and then there's like a that color there, and then it kind of is right here, a little bit brighter right here, tiny bit brighter even than that. Now definitely a lot brighter than that. Come on, what am I missing here? Hold on, let's just make it stupid bright. Now that's too bright. Bring it down a little bit. Kind of trying to do this little part right here. So now it's not bright enough. Let's bring it up just a little bit. Oop, what did I just do? Oh boy, now I have two brushes. I don't know how that happened, but this one should be my eraser, and this one should be my... Okay. Let's try this again. Let's see. And a little darker here. I'm using the wrong brush anyway. Should be using this one now. We'll just use this to do this, and then do that, and then do that, and then this. To heck with it, I'll just go full white here. Alright. I think that's looking okay. I am noticing that this leaf is actually two leaves, so with the stems kind of going up into it, so I need to actually on the stems layer, wherever that is, I need to take care of that somehow, or I can just take care of it on this layer. Let's see, the stems are black basically, so just do that and do that. Well, I don't need to do that. And then do that on this one, which looks like I do need to do it on this one. Little bit thinner. Little bit thinner. There we go. And then I'll just create that highlight that the stems have on the right side of them here. And do that over here too with this other stem that isn't really as dark on the left side for some reason. Now I need to find the stems layer and actually do that, so that highlight needs to go on them. Now where is it? That's the... It's not that, not that. I thought I would have named it. I did. I literally named it stem. I'll just rename it to leaf stems. Make it a little easier for me to find right next to the pear stems, which are a completely different thing. Now, I'll just... Actually, I'll make it a clipping group. Just kind of see here, it kind of goes all the way down to there. So I need to increase my brush size just a little bit and do this, and then the other stems highlight only goes down to about there, but then it gets darker and goes down to there, so need to do all that accordingly. Go down to there, and then a tiny bit darker, go down to here, and then the rest of the stem's basically just a flat color as far as I can tell, except up here it has a very slight highlight thing going on here. A little bit of a thing here. Actually kind of goes over like this. I think that's alright. I really shouldn't be focusing on the details this much yet, but I got sidetracked since I was working on this leaf. But I think that leaf is done anyway. There's really not much else to do there except, well, it's like a little highlight thing going on there, so just take care of that real quick. If I can find which layer that leaf is on. Is it that one? No, it's not that one. Almost that one. This one. So it's... Wait. Why can't I draw anything here? Oh. There we go. Just kind of with a little line through it. Yeah, that looks good. Now I guess I just move on to whatever leaf is next. I think I've taken care of that one pretty well. So, this one. And it's pretty dark, so let's see. about that shade right there. And then, gosh, that's basically it for that leaf. It's basically just a flat color. I mean, I can see some very slight variations that I can probably paint in. Guess I'll do those, but gosh, I don't think it actually matters that much. But we'll see what my art tutor thinks come Thursday when I have my art lesson. Because this is actually an assignment for my art tutor, for those unaware. And it's an exercise to really get better at focusing on the values of things. Even though I'm treating it like it's a details exercise, it's really meant to help me with focusing on value, how to see value correctly. So yep, I think that leaf is basically already taken care of. Now I can move on to, I'll just go ahead and do them in the order they are in my layers list. Sure. That leaf overall is actually really bright, but that's because most of it is covered with a highlight. But really its base color is more like this color, but well, yeah, it's more just a touch darker, I think. A little darker. Little tiny bit darker. There we go. Merge down. Turn back into a clipping mask. And now you can just go like basically white with the highlights here. Just do a little blob there, and then kind of more this color everywhere else. Kind of starts to fade up here, but it's actually more like this. And then on this kind of part of the leaf here is where it basically faded to just that base color, so I'll just do this. And then over here it actually gets really bright again, so I'll just sample this color and do that, and then do this. And then go back to pure white and do that. And just do this, do this, do this, do this, and everything's good. Yeah, everything's good for this leaf now, I think. So now I can move on to the next one. Just breezing right past these leaves. That leaf, it needs to be kind of a darker color though. Yeah, this value looks about right. A tiny bit darker. There we go. And then all the way to white, and just do this. Maybe with a little bigger brush. Kinda need to blend them out like that. And then a little bit there. You're doing pretty good. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think I'm doing all right. And that color actually fills up most of this leaf. And that actually is not as bright as I thought it was. So I'll just do this. And then blend it all like that. There's actually a pretty dark black shadow that this leaf is casting, so just paint that in. It's kind of just right there. And I think that I'm doing really well here. I only have a couple more leaves to take care of, and then honestly, other than some details on the bottle and the background, I think this exercise is almost done. I'll see what my art tutor thinks, but gosh, I didn't realize I was in the home stretch here. So let's do this leaf next. Let's see, it's also pretty dark, so thankfully I already have almost the exact right color selected, so just drop that in. And almost completely white highlight right here. Some slightly darker here, a little bit here, kind of fades out down that direction. Let's see. Really trying to get everything as good as possible here, as always, but I'm really trying to pay attention to the values and also the shape of where those values fall on the forms. Gosh, I feel tired. Guess I'll move on to the next leaf, the final leaf, pretty much. and it's just like almost black. The bottle itself is also a lot darker than it should be. I mean, my bottle is lighter than the actual bottle, I think, but I don't know if that's just the glare of my monitors, like, causing things to be different, so I won't bother with that right now, but I just had a chai latte. Didn't seem to help much. Would be great if I had some Dr. Pepper. That seems to help a little bit more. Let's see. Fill this in with the right shadow color, right value, and then do. Alright, that one's actually almost already perfect. It really only has like a very slight light difference right here, but it is so hard to even see. It's definitely there though. So, all right, cool. That's all the leaves done, I think. Okay. So, now what? I mean, I really don't have much energy left right now. It's like a half hour until 20 minutes until I would end the stream normally, and I really don't want to be in the habit of ending the stream early. But yeah, I don't have enough energy at the moment to continue doing any artwork. I gave it my best shot though. Shadow Fox piece? No. This is for my art tutor. This is an exercise for my art tutor. So, but yeah, I mean, I could definitely start working on the background, I guess, but I kind of don't want to until I have a little more energy to work on it. I meant if you wanted more to do, LOL. Yeah, I guess I could work on Shadow Fox, but the thing is, like, to do another Shadow Fox banner, I would need to really focus on the anatomy and the characters' forms and stuff, which takes even more energy than this does. So I just don't even, like, I don't have ideas for what I could actually do. I have ideas for things I could do if I had more energy, but I really don't have the energy right at this moment. I am getting a bit tired. I don't know why that is. I guess because I just focused so strongly during the first half of the stream. I kind of burned myself out a little bit. It really stinks having ADHD. I am certain it has something to do with that, but it's really hard to force myself to focus on something for a long period of time. So it's just, yeah, as much as I hate it, I think I am going to have to end the stream like 20 minutes early today, just because I just wasn't able to keep my energy up this time. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I guess I will unfortunately have to end the stream 20 minutes early, but I'll give my outro anyway. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this stream. Thanks for coming by to visit again, Swift Blue Fox. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad everyone who watches this is here. I'm kind of bad at outros sometimes, but I'll hope to see you all next week when I do this again at the usual time on Tuesday, 11:45 a.m. Mountain Time. But yeah, it was fun, and I guess I'll see you all next week. Bye.